glad to be back that Rangers baseball is back. It's been a while since we got to see this team, and already in game two, they're making me stress. Really made us stress in opening day, honestly. It could have been a comeback victory, but glad to see it is baseball time in Texas. Can't wait for the home opener soon. For now, they have a rare opening road series that we haven't seen for a few years, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? Now I'm just thinking about that. Because what? Where did we start out last year? Who did we play
It was
last year to start
Red
off?
Sox.
It was the Red Sox, and then we had the Cubs
Uh,
for the ring
uh,
ceremony or the banner. Then he had
the
the
year before.
Phillies on the
Yeah,
World
the year before.
Series.
Last
Yeah,
one was 2022, I believe. Blue Jays.
2022 Blue Jays. Yeah,
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 Toronto.
yeah, dude. That's some ball
Yeah.
knowledge right there. I had no clue.
Opening day leadoff home run from
Brad Miller.
Brad Miller. And I was like, oh my God, this
I was
team may
there
be
for
for
you.
real.
I had that one. Yeah, Brad Miller, man. Oh man, and he had an opening day in 2023
He
as well. We
did.
posted
He
about that
did.
on our TikTok and Instagram and X if you want to follow us on those accounts. But yeah, the Texas Rangers, man, only 3 games in. We've only seen two, but 3 games in, and it feels like it has been a full season already, basically. We've already had the late scratches from this time being Jacob deGrom with neck stiffness. But it was maybe a blessing in disguise because, maybe the Phillies did not run that much of a scouting report on Jacob Latz, or maybe Jacob Latz is just that good. I don't know, Joe. What do you think about Jacob Latz?
Well, last year he certainly turned heads. I did not expect him to have that great of an impact like he did last year. And it's a shame it didn't end up paying out more in late September or a potential postseason run because he was really underrated last year as a Ranger with that 2.84 ERA. Would be clutch, in starts like he had against the Phillies on Saturday. He went 4 innings against the Phillies, one hit ball as a team that this Rangers staff would have all the way until the eighth inning until it got, of course, contentious. And that's why, I was calling out this bullpen last week before opening day. I don't know why we as Rangers fans just somehow have this, down to pat while our GM, our president of baseball operations, does not care that much about this. You have a guy like Chris Martin, who, by the way, has so much gray hair. He's not even 40 years old. He still looks like he's just barely hanging on in his career. And it's fitting that's how he pitches because man, this bullpen is just very weak in the late stages. Him and Robert Garcia. I really was impressed by Jalen Beeks in his opening day.
Mhm.
I think he can be very vital in the middle part of the pen. Carter Baumler had a really good appearance, I thought, for a guy who was making his big league debut. His parents were in the stand, family was in the stand in Philly on opening day. He found a way to strand the bases after facing pressure. So I was proud of that because he's a guy that I was shouting out last week that I'd really like to have in the late part of that pen. But they're going to
Yeah.
ease him in clearly. You don't want to put a guy at that part of the game. Um, that early in his career. It's just too much pressure for a guy who's 24 like him. But yeah, Jacob Latz has been really impressive, I thought, and he's keeping it up, man. I did not expect him to pitch like that against a Phillies lineup that has been pretty much the same, and,
Yeah.
for the last 2 years. Not a lot of difference. And of course, you have Adolis Garcia, the former Ranger, having a clutch hit on Saturday to extend, the comeback hopes. But that is not what I expected at all from Jacob Latz. From props to him and Skip Schumacher for adjusting. You just hate to see it for Jacob deGrom because he was relatively healthy last year for the first
Yeah.
time in
I
a
know.
long time.
I know it's like so concerning to see that just from game two of this season, not even really having a ton of reps in spring training. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely something to see. They said that he'll be starting on Monday or Tuesday against Baltimore. So hopefully it's just a little bit of a setback, nothing to be worried about. But I guess we'll find out. But yeah, this bullpen, man, it is criminal that Jacob Latz could not get the win in Saturday's performance. I mean, not extremely efficient, obviously. 4 innings and 68 pitches thrown, but the main stat right there is 0 hits allowed. 0 hits allowed, 3 strikeouts. I mean, this guy, he was, in the wise words of Bruce Bochy. Come on. He was
Bussin'.
he
He's
was busting.
bussin'.
He was
He was
busting,
bu-
wasn't
he was bussin', wasn't
he?
But
That's a yeah, I mean it was a great performance by him. You talk about just what a I mean, at this point, does it even feel like a win? I don't know. I mean, you go in there, you're up 3 runs with 1 out remaining. 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, actually, excuse me. Robert Garcia gives up a hit, then gives up a walk. And we kind of go down the rabbit hole of bringing in different situational pitchers, which eventually did not work out. We all know Cody Martin, or Caleb, yeah, Cody Martin, what am I saying? Comes in, Chris Martin. Third try, third time's a charm, dude. He comes in, was able to get Adolis Garcia the pop up. Jake Berger drops his second pop fly of the day, second time to Adolis Garcia as well, leaving it open for a 3-run, 2-out rally for the Phillies. The Rangers came back, scored 2 runs in the top of the 10th behind some clutch hitting behind players like Andrew McCutchen, which we need to talk about as well.
clutch clutch.
Clutch Kutch, and the Rangers were able to not have a complete 2-out breakdown in the bottom of the 10th to get us the win. It was still interesting in the bottom of the 10th, but you know what? A win is a win. You still come out with a even record going into your Sunday deciding series, where I believe Mackenzie Gore's taking the mound, right?
Yep, Mackenzie Gore against Jesus Lazardo.
Mhm.
So lefty against lefty.
Well, I wish I would talk about it a little bit more, but unfortunately, again, we will not be able to talk about it because the game has not happened yet. It's about to happen, but it has not yet. So we cannot talk about it, unfortunately. But we can talk about what I just talked about. I'm sorry, a little brain twister right there by Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised they were gonna rock with him on opening day like they did, and look, it paid off. He is keeping up that heated bat, that hot bat, I should say, from spring training. And this is a guy we didn't know would be in the roster 3 weeks ago. He just got signed. And you saw him, rocking a cowboy hat, doing a little, hold down, little two-step on the Instagram. And here he is, already making an impact in the first 2 games against the Phillies. Guy still got it. He's still got it. He's great base running as well. They can use him in multiple parts of the game in the field if they so choose. But I found it interesting that they pinch hit him so quick with Jock because Jock started on
Hmm.
Saturday in the fifth spot. Struck. He actually walked and um, went 0 for 1. But good to see him on base. But Andrew McCutchen with that clutch hit against, by the way, the best relief guy that the Phillies have, and Yohan Duran. I was not expecting that later on. So
Yeah.
for the Rangers to do that, have a victory like that after really pissing down their leg in the late stages against a really solid relief guy, that was kind of, a good look to me. And I didn't expect them to really come back. It's hard to win extra inning games, when you're the road team. It's so easy to, kind of do it when you're at home because you just have to rely on getting that ghost guy in. But the fact that, Tyler Alexander could hold on, I thought that was really cool to see. And so it was a really solid win, the first win of Skip Schumacher's career, hopefully the first of many. A little concerned about Josh Young, not gonna lie.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to transition to that. I was gonna say, man, there was a tweet about it. Look, so I mean, we Andrew McCutchen is a big part, very clutch moment, obviously. This is a team that has obviously struggled a ton on the offensive side in the last 2 years after having one of the best offensive seasons in MLB history almost. And it's kind of weird, but these first 2 games doesn't give us really a good sign of any really improvement, especially in the bottom of the order. There's only really 2 players right now, 3 players, sorry, including Kutch, that have, had really good offensive series so far, which is Corey Seager, Jake Berger, Andrew McCutchen. Those are
I
the
mean,
three.
Jake
If you
Burger.
look at the bot,
Whew.
man, offensive explosion. I mean, he's got to make up
I'm loving
for
these burger
that
balls, man.
defensive effort on Saturday. But I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at the bottom of this order right now. not too impressive within the first two games. Obviously, it's like if this is an NBA or NHL, you got two games, 80 games left. It's like, all right, maybe
Hmm.
still that's still crazy to overreact to. There's still 160 games left here. All right, but there are some discussion. I saw a tweet where somebody was like, "Is it time to admit that Josh Young and Evan Carter aren't going to be the people that we all thought they were going to be?"
That was from Mike Reiner. I saw that same tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Had me thinking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was
Even
perfect
yeah,
engagement bait right there.
yeah, former ticket host, legend of the business. Um, it's a good question, dude. You hate to hear that from young guys. But I just hate that even in opening day, Evan Carter can't just get a chance against left-handed pitching. Just
Mm-hmm.
can't even get a chance.
I know.
And look, was it concerning opening day how his offense performed? Sure. But Christopher Sanchez is one of the best lefties, one of the best pitchers in the game for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, 10
Yep.
Ks, very efficient ball. I wasn't shocked how this offense performed against him, to be honest. I didn't expect to win. I didn't expect an offensive explosion. He's one of the best pitchers in the league for a reason. But I
Mm-hmm.
just wish Evan Carter, who has been playing a little bit better in spring training, just got a shot. How else can he learn, man? How else can he learn to hit against lefties? If you're gonna keep doing this, what, now year three, year four? Is it his fourth year?
It's going to be his fourth year, yeah.
Yeah, so like we're still doing this. He's got to try at one point. You can't just bench him immediately. Obviously, his glove is super valuable, but I was really surprised that he couldn't just get an opening day start. I hope it can get better for him against lefties because I really think this could be a bounce back year for him. But Josh Young, man, bouncing into these double plays, these little choppers in the middle infield, it's really, halted um, these efforts to put more runs on the board in scoring position, especially in opening day when I thought this team could have possibly made a comeback.
Yeah.
When the Phillies almost were booing the relief guy for almost blowing a game that should have been really dead to rights. You had a Rangers team finally get on the board in the ninth inning, and then Josh Young just grounds to second, and the rally pretty much starts to die. So
Yep.
we've seen that so much from him this year, this past year, and half of the season before, in these last two seasons, missing the playoffs. But I think it's a reasonable question to ask if you're Mike Reiner, and I know that hurts Rangers fans like you and I, but they just haven't performed, and they haven't been healthy as well, which
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I just it's so hard for me to give up on players. It's just when you get this personal, affection to a player where it's like they've done so good, you know, in
Yep.
the past, you just want to hold out hope. I'm always in the stage of denial when it comes to these players. I think about like Klay Thompson on the Mavericks. Like no matter how many times it's like, all right, we need to let him go. He's not good anymore. I mean, he's not as good anymore. I'm sorry, Klay Thompson. I know you're watching. I know you are. But I mean, it's just like I just can't let go. It's like this is such a cool thing to have, and I think Josh Young and Evan Carter are just one of those two players that are just, I just have this this big I'm just trying to believe in them more than I probably should because of what they've done in the past. Um, but, we just need, if it's Andrew McCutchen, that's going to be a huge piece. Jake Berger, hopefully can have a way better start than he did from last year. He only batted 239 last year, but if you look at his splits, I think his second half, he was batting around 270, 280. And so if he can just keep that up throughout the year, Wyatt Langford has a better year on that with the bat. Brendan Nimmo is a more productive spot than Marcus Simeon was. And the
Loving
same
Nemo
goes
so
to
far. Loving it.
yeah, yeah, he's been pretty good. I think he's a great leadoff guy. Again, the Mets fans were happy that he was gone. I was like 265 for a batting average last year.
Oh,
That's like
we will
top
take
three
it.
on the Rangers. Like I'm taking that. I'm taking that over Simeon. But I mean, look, I'm gonna put out a truth bomb. Okay, truth bomb before we move on to the next sport, which is look, the Rangers were number two in run differential in the AL last year. All right. They were, if you remember, this is a team that was really, really good on the pitching side last year. We all know that. But people don't know that they were number two in run differential in the entire AL, only behind the Yankees. All right. Obviously, run differential does not equate to wins. as we can see. I think the Astros were really low. I think they might have even been in the negatives. And so all they have to do is just get more consistent with the offense. And if the pitching can just be 80% of what it was last year, they have a chance of going to a 90-win season. I don't want to overhype this team, but I don't want to underhype them either because they were 500 last year. It might have felt like a terrible year last year.
It's crazy,
They were
isn't it?
just 500. They were 81 and 81.
It felt like a high 60s win team.
And they choked at the end of the year. They were losing all their games in the last 10 games or so this season, basically. So, I mean, this team has potential. It is really, really going to be reliant on the bats. They need just a couple people on my hand, man. That's all. Just somebody in this offensive lineup needs to come up big this season, needs to be way more productive than they were last year. If that's Josh Young, that's great. That's going to be perfect. If it's White Langford, that's what we might need. It's just going to be that. Jock Peterson is another big name that needs to step up, obviously. So, we're going to have if again, they get consistent, this team has potential. Has potential. All right.
And it's amazing because also Team ERA is not exactly like always the best tool to describe elite bullpen because this bullpen blew 30 saves last year. 30, think about that. 30 saves. This team blew a lot of games, historic amount of saves. Yeah, they blew a historic amount of saves or amount of games back when they won the World Series. But how much better they could have been if they just got half of those saves. And, you think about the offense, how they just were not good with runners in scoring position and later in games too. Those things, if they just get corrected, I agree with you. This team could really be a 90-win team. But I'm looking for White Langford to take the next step. I'm also looking forward to seeing the signings from last year and beat Peterson and Berger just being more consistent because I do think there's potential with this lineup. I'm not going to act like it's going to be anything like last year. I think this lineup can really wake up and possibly bring, solid offense, not 2023 offense back because that was just a special year altogether. But I think this team can finally start to knock in more runs if just one or two more guys start to get more consistent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, this is a full lineup of people who batted under 250 last year. And obviously, batting averages have gone down a lot in recent years. Pitchers have gotten a lot better. They've also, taken away some of the juice in the balls, I guess. We'll see if I think a lot of people are saying that they might be back this season. I guess we'll find out. But a lot of people in this lineup that bat sub 250 from last year, 2 years ago as well.
I'm
Just
not gonna
need to
lie.
stay.
One of those the Alec Bohm homer, I shouted it out on opening day. They have to have these balls juiced again.
I thought Schwarber's home run on opening day in that first inning was actually a little it looked like a pop fly to me. That's what I'll
What
say.
are we doing? Dude, even Baxitt called it out. He's like, that'd be a fly out at Globe Life Field. I don't know.
Well, the Texas Rangers, they're going to move on to a 3-game series in Baltimore against the Orioles after they finish the series on Sunday. Of course, we do not know the outcome. And when we come back next week on Monday, they would have been already done with their first home series of the season against the Cincinnati Reds. So we'll keep you up with coverage on that going into next week.